Where is he? Swear to God.
Thought maybe me, you, and Tater this weekend could go down to the drag strip, see if we can run a 9-second quarter mile.
What are you doing?
What? Hey folks, thanks for stopping by. Got a lot of big changes that have been going on this week. It's basically been like Christmas and my birthday for about 5 years straight, all compiled into 1 week. I've been getting shipments coming in, going and picking stuff up. So I've gotten a lot of stuff for both Merikart and Tater. Tater has run a 10-second quarter mile already. And my plan was build a car that can do a 10-second quarter mile for 10 grand. And we did that. Got there, it was super exciting. Now that we've gotten there, it's time to go for the nines. So I've been having a little bit of issue with the transmission that was in it. It's a T56 out of an F body. And as you may know, they can only handle so much power. And Tater's probably putting down somewhere around 600 plus to the wheels with the boost level it's at. And that's a little much for a T56. And it was a transmission that was given to me by my buddy who had put in about 100,000 very, very hard miles on it. And so it was pretty tired. I did rebuild it when I got it. And when I rebuilt it, I noticed the 5-6 gear was not in that great a shape. And now it's starting to vibrate when I put it in 5th or 6th gear. So I figured since I got to the 10 seconds for 10 grand, I can spend some more money now, right? Let's have a quest for the nines. Let's see how fast we can make this thing and really put a little more money into it. So instead of trying to rebuild the T56, I mean, it's limited to how much you can do to it and how much power you can put down. So I thought, why not put in a T56 Magnum? So I bought a T56 Magnum F, so it's the F body style. These things are rated for 700 foot-pounds of torque. Now you might think, all right, you're probably already putting that down, because if you're making 600 at the wheels, you're probably making about that at the crank. Well, they're rated for 700 foot-pounds, but they can definitely handle more. And I wouldn't be surprised if this thing could handle 1,000, no problem. And you might have noticed next to it that I have some type of compressible air bottle. This is for my boost control. So previously, I was running my boost control using the Holley system, just using boost to control my wastegate. And the problem with that is you need to make boost before you can put more pressure on the top of your wastegate to make more boost. So if you run a CO2 system, you can have a constant supply of whatever pressure you want to put down on the wastegate over your spring pressure, and you theoretically should build boost faster. So I decided to buy a 5-pound bottle for CO2 and a regulator, and it'll be super easy to put that in and hook it up to the system they already have going on, make a little adjustment in the Terminator X software, and we should be making more boost faster. Well, time has come. Motor has to come out. You had a good run, Super Fart. It's time for greater things. Let's do it. Alright, so from all my history in taking exhaust header bolts out of a motorcycle engine that have probably never been out, they don't like to come out. And I can't really heat cycle the engine anymore since it's very torn down and I'm not going to put it back together. So I sprayed them with some penetrating fluid and I'm going to try the impact on it, see if they want to come out at all. That's a negative. Well, I guess another option would be to hit it with some heat. I'm going to try a little breaker bar lightly because I really don't want to break any threads off in the head, because that's going to be a lot of fun to extract. So I'll try that quickly and then I'll try some heat. Come on, baby. Feels like they're gonna break, so time for some heat. And it snapped the bolt. Oh, 1 for 2. Pretty sure this one's gonna break too. Yep. Well, they both broke with threads sticking out of the engine, which is the best case scenario. Hopefully we can get on there with some vice grips, try to get them out. If not, we can try welding a nut onto the end. All right, so I got everything cleared off, I think, that's going to prevent the motor from coming out. And things might get a little sketchy here, so I figure I gotta get that on video. But basically I'm going to support the frame and the engine with the engine hoist and some ratchet straps and take off the front fork, triple clamp and all that stuff. Get something under the engine to support it, and then take out all the bolts that should be holding the engine on, and then try to lift the frame off of the engine. Sounds perfectly fine to me. Now I'm going to attempt to lower the whole frame down, get the engine resting on these blocks and this towel the best I can, get it disconnected, and then lift the frame off. All right, we got a motor. It's a floater right now. but it's out, it's intact. Everything went decently well. Nobody got hurt. But I'm gonna go make some dinner, probably call it a night, come back to this in the morning. So we'll see you then. Well, folks, we have made some progress. A lot of those components that I was talking about coming in the mail, stuff just coming all week long. You can see some of them here. We got some shocks. We got some calipers for the front, which are for, both of those are for an ATV, which should be fine for this because this thing's not gonna weigh a lot. We got a little steering rack, which may or may not be strong enough. I'm definitely gonna have to modify it one way or another. One of the things that you need to do with a steering rack is make sure that your pivot point here is in line with your control arms. So I definitely need to at least modify this to move it out, because if it's not in line with the control arms, we'll get bump steer, and that's definitely not something we want to have off-road. I just have Kirky mocked up in here in front of the back seat, which is also just kind of mocked in place. But as you can see, we got the engine out, and I made a little stand for it just to hold it for now, and I'll get to actually getting that mounted to the frame pretty soon. But now that that's out, I can actually start designing the rear end. And you can see we've got some CV axles and some hubs. And these are actually 5-lug hubs and are gonna have to go to 4-lug wheels. So I'm just gonna make a little adapter plate for that. Picked up these wheels pretty cheap. The whole set was 60 bucks, so I don't really expect a lot out of the tires themselves. They're kind of dry rotted. But I wanted to have something that I can get this thing sitting on so I could actually be able to roll it around, kind of just drive it around a little bit, and then I'll get some new tires for it. But as you can see, we're coming together and this thing looks pretty cool. It's real exciting to kind of get an idea of what it's gonna look like. And now that I have all of this stuff, I'm gonna be able to finish the design for the control arms, finish the design for the rear end and all the suspension, and we're gonna be ripping pretty soon. So one of the other things that I needed, that you may have seen in some shots from earlier in the video, is a lathe. So I picked up this Smithy mill lathe drill press combo, and I've been playing around with it a little bit. I haven't really done a whole lot, and I don't have a ton of experience on these. I got enough to be dangerous. So this is gonna wrap it up for the video this week. We got the motor out, we got Merikart kind of set up and seeing what it's gonna look like, but now I need to move on to Tater because we got a transmission that needs to go in, the quest for the 9s. So I'm pretty excited to get that in and start breaking it in, because I gotta do 500 miles and I don't have an odometer, so I have no idea when that's gonna be, but I gotta go drive it around and make sure all the gears are meshing and all the synchros are starting to break in until it starts shifting nice and smooth. And then we're getting back to the drag strip. So thanks for joining us today. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I can't wait to get going further on Tater and get going further on Mericart. And I hope you join us next time. Thanks for coming to Proven's Garage.